Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show. My name is Avrum Rosensweig, and I am just delighted to have you here, both viewers and listeners. I remind everybody that I really do have a great love of humankind. I really do. And I think when I look around the world and what we have accomplished in 6,000 short years or whatever your spiritual predilection happens to be, I think that we have to be really, really proud of ourselves. I think we have to look at the great things of having to do with spirituality, having to do with medicine, having to do with nutrition, civility, and to say, my gosh, it's been a short time that we've existed here on planet Earth, but we have done so much to make it better. Now, that goes along with the idea that there are a lot of pockmarks, as I like to say, within humankind, and there's a lot of things we need to fix. That I know, but there seems to be a lot of concentration on the black cloud hanging over us during these days. So what I've chosen to do through my podcast is to do inspirational interviews and to interview you to people who are really fascinating, very interesting, who have accomplished much in life at various different times in their lives. And that, I'm hoping, will really spur us on to do even greater things and learn from them and find that zone, find that place where we ourselves can create and live out our dreams. Now, I want to remind everybody that there's sponsorship available for the show, sponsorship and advertising. We can tailor your sponsorship, and there's all kinds of different opportunities that you can secure if you like. And to know more about it, you can email me at avrum.rosensweig@gmail.com. The show really is predicated its future on sponsorship, on bringing in some cash. There's a lot of work that goes into these podcasts, and I'd really appreciate if you could be part of it, be part of the vibe. And it's a really great vibe here, okay? Let me bring in my guests. Here they are, Lauren Mayer and Alex Purcell. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Hello.
I'm great. Now, I am really excited to have you as my guest this evening. And the reason I am is because what we will speak about is converting to Judaism, right? And Alex, that would be you. You're the one who converted to Judaism. I have been teaching a class through my dear friends Ellie Rubenstein and Rabbi Yossi Saperman, which they started a few years ago. And every few months, I'll come in and teach a class. Lately, I taught something on Hanukkah, which we're celebrating now. And you'll remember that for the first, half hour, 45 minutes of the class, 2-hour class, I sit there in total awe of what you have accomplished. Not only Alex for the conversion itself, but also Lauren for being part of that process. You were born Jewish, right, Lauren?
Yep, that's right.
So these are decisions, like major decisions that people are making. And I think one of the classic questions to put this all in context is a lot of people, when you speak to them about conversion, Jews who were born Jewish, they'll say to you, well, why would somebody possibly want to convert? Now, I think that's a reasonable question, even for those of us who just absolutely adore and love our Judaism. So what I'd like to begin with is give a little context as to who you guys are. And you actually wrote a beautiful intro, and I'm going to read much of it word for word. Okay, so here we go. In 2018, Lauren and Alex could often be found performing at a local open mic on Monday nights along Ossington Strip. Great area of the city. It was a place where musicians of all levels gathered for a chance to perform, even if it meant waiting around all night for the name to be called. Lauren, a budding songwriter, made it her consistent goal to improve her confidence on stage, build connections, and test out new songs and covers. Meanwhile, Alex spent his time with the self-proclaimed house band, a group of musicians who never got paid, but got to be on stage backing up the songwriters who shared their music. One such Monday, Lauren and Alex were paired up to play together, having barely exchanged a word beforehand. During that impromptu performance, sparks began to fly. From then on, they always got up together, eventually becoming a musical duo, performing at venues around town. That summer, 2008, music and the romance blossomed into love. After nearly a year of dating, they moved into their first place together. That was 2019, where they now share their life. The topic of conversion came up after their engagement in the summer of 2023. Following the tragic event of October the 7th, which deeply affected the Jewish community, Lauren and Alex felt the disconnect between their cultural backgrounds. While Alex has always participated in Jewish holidays at Lauren's home, he found it difficult to truly understand what his fiancée was experiencing. Some mutual friends targeted Lawrence because of her Jewish background, but left Alex out of it, highlighting a disparity that didn't reflect the unity of their love. Determined to build a cohesive family foundation, Lauren and Alex decided to form a Jewish household together. When they married, they would identify as Jewish, not just culturally, but as a shared commitment. Though Alex wasn't genetically tied to the Jewish people, his learning and love for Lauren deepened his connection to the Jewish story. Through local Jewish wisdom classes at Habonim and the unwavering support of family, friends, and rabbis, Alex found his own evolving understanding of what it means to be Jewish. On October 21st, 20 wasn't so long ago, Alex officially converted to Judaism, Mazel Tov. The following Saturday, October 26th, Rabbi Audrey Kaufman officiated their wedding, marking the beginning of their life as a Jewish family. So Mazel Tov to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for reading that.
Yeah, nicely written, by the way. I figure, what the heck? Why paraphrase when it's written so well? And there was a lot of happiness within that as well, and struggle.
Yeah.
So Alex, so you became a Jew, right?
Yehud?
Tell us in your own words what prompted that decision.
It was very simple to me. At first, it was very complicated, but then it became very simple. I have a background as an Anglican. My mother is an Anglican minister in Nova Scotia. So I grew up very religious, I would say. Yeah. Baptized, confirmed, the whole 9 yards, the thing. Anyway, long story short, I'm just playing the seeds there for that, because I don't think I would have been able to convert as easily if I did not have some sort of faith background. I think that actually, what my mother gave to me as in terms of spirituality, has deeply affected my soul and made it kind of paved the way for me to keep searching for faith. So I had that background. October 7th happens, and I'm, like you just heard, I'm not feeling like I'm understanding what's happening, to Lauren, to her parents, to their relatives in Israel, to their family in Hungary, like all these people that are just feeling so much hate and continue to. And the stuff that we just got on our social media from, would-be friends was just kind of chaotic. And at some point, I think it was maybe it was November, like the month after, I was just like, yeah, we thought we'd do an interfaith wedding first. In September, when we got married, we're like, we'll have interfaith wedding. October 7th, November, no, it needs to be a Jewish family from the inception. Yeah.
And a lot of the Jewish wisdom classes did help, I think, with that decision, because Alex had there was a yearning there, he wanted to learn. And I think the things that he learned in class were inspirational for him. I do think they sort of also helped propel that, motion.
Lauren, Alex, it's interesting what you said about you coming from a strong Anglican background, because what I determined within those classes is that everyone who was there had some sort of background, a spiritual background. And for those people who don't, they're they're not interested in converting, or they're not interested in their partner converting. So Lauren, tell us what was your background?
Well, my father is he's born in Bulgaria, lived there as an infant, so for the first year of his life, and then they moved to Israel when it became a state, and my mother comes from a Hungarian family, so her parents were immigrants from Hungary. My grandmother, her mother, was a Holocaust survivor. Her whole family, 5 siblings and parents, were all murdered. So she was the only survivor. And because my mother grew up in Canada, but with this like traumatic history from her family, and of course they were living in Montreal at the time, she didn't grow up with a ton of religious customs because they were pretending to not be Jewish. She was in school with, she was at summer camps, like with Catholic summer camps, like with nuns and things like that. They would put up a Christmas tree. They changed their last name just to kind of appear less Jewish. And so she had a very strong like connection to her heritage and the cultural aspects of Judaism, but she didn't get what I got, which was going to Hebrew school and learning religious aspects as well as cultural aspects. My father knew a lot about Jews historically. Obviously, he grew up in Israel. He came to Canada after doing his army training, and went to university here and to grad school here. So he had a lot of knowledge historically. He had a lot of knowledge culturally. They partook in some religious things, but also not a ton. It was very much like customs, cultural things, stuff like that. So me being raised here, coming from both of those backgrounds that again were very like rooted in heritage and culture, that combined with like the things that I was given, like I was able to be bat mitzvahed, I went to Hebrew school, I had a lot of Jewish friends, I was exposed to religious and cultural things. It just was very much embedded in my identity. And when I as I got older, my Jewish community got smaller. Yes. I'm often the only Jewish person in the room. Just it just the career path I took, it just didn't position me where I was around a lot of Jews. So over time, it's waned on me a little bit, like feeling always a little bit isolated, and I kind of got used to it. And then when the hate just became so prominent in a way that I didn't think I would experience during my time on this planet alive, it really gave a sense of urgency to like make sure that I was keeping a lot of these religious and cultural aspects alive. And Alex didn't come from that, but it made me want to include him more and more. And my family always included him regardless. Like he was always interested in what we did. But the urgency was just a lot. It just was a lot
Right.
more real, especially with, ideas of building a family and a home and all of that.
So had Alex said, "No, I don't want a divorce," boy, that was Freudian, wasn't it? I don't want to convert.
We did our prenup. Don't worry.
I did another podcast. I got so many other things here. What if he would have said, "You know what, Lauren? And I love you with all my heart, but I don't want to convert"? How would you in with that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that being a real possibility, and I think that even if he had said I didn't want to convert, I do believe that, like, I know my children would have been technically Jewish anyways, and I know, with the way the Jewish law is now, and I know that Alex would have supported us having a Jewish home, and like me teaching them all of the customs and religious aspects that I wanted to teach them. But I also knew that there would always be a distance. So I have to say, I'm not sure if I would have said, all right, like, we're not getting married. I don't know if I would have said that on a dime. I do think maybe over time it would have worn us down. It's possible. Yeah.
And
Um,
Alex, did you ever think to yourself, I don't really want to do this? I don't really want to convert.
It wasn't necessarily like, oh, I don't want to be Jewish. Like I never had that thought. I was never like, oh, like I don't want to. It was more like just, is this something I should be doing, or is this something that's I'm ready for, or it's the right thing to do? Um, am I Jewish? Can I be Jewish? Like, can I actually do it? All these
Yeah.
questions. So I also, there was, of course, a moment, I'm not going to lie, where I was like, do I say goodbye to Jesus? Like, wait a minute. He's, as he said, he's Jewish. We still got him. Or do I say, see you later, Christmas, see you later, Easter, all those things, like, like some things that I kind of grew up with. And then, what am I trying to say here? Yeah, I got over that rather quickly because I just saw how important it would be for us to have this
And
thing.
what did your mom say as you were making that decision?
I just want to say, like, both families were incredible. Lauren's family never once encouraged me. I guess maybe
no, they encouraged.
they encouraged me. They never said like, "Oh, Alex, go do this course," or think about
They didn't
conversion.
push it. They didn't push it.
Not a lick of it. And my family, my mom studied divinity. She's aware of all the great religions and the little ones too. And she was supported from day one. She expected it. She said, I knew this was coming, and I'm so happy for you. And we had her do a nice speech, which borderlined on a sermon, but she really like, she's an incredible speaker, an orator, but she, of course, fully supports what we do.
She sounds lovely.
You'd love to meet her. She's really, yeah.
Yeah, she sounds very special. So growing up in an Anglican home, in a religious Anglican home, did you have a sense of what a Jew is? Jews?
I had a half Jewish girlfriend like 10 years ago. But not just Anglican home, growing up in like a semi-rural Nova Scotian,
Right.
very, very few Jewish people living there right now, and back then too. So it was a learning experience since I arrived in Toronto after high school, and still is,
Right. And this, you talked about Jesus a moment ago. That's always a question that I have in my mind. So you grow up, you had Jesus in your heart. Am I correct?
It's like, how many times have I done this? Like, it's
right.
just,
right. Right. And then you start to learn about Judaism, and you realize that Judaism, one of the values of Judaism is that the Messiah has not come yet.
Yes.
So we don't subscribe to the Jesus narrative. How did you deal with that?
To be honest, I get really excited by the idea that the Messiah has not come, especially nowadays, because I'm kind of like you. I'm a bit obsessed about like where technology is going, where the Jewish people could go, where the planet as a whole could go if we do this right, if we unite, and if we actually, So I do think the Messiah is still coming. The age of enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it. Unification, some beautiful thing is yet to happen, and that makes me more excited than saying Jesus was already here and he did his thing, and we should just hope that we get into heaven. Like, I like the idea that we can work on this world right now, and that will lead to something, who knows when.
Right. So there's something spiritually, a big thing to look forward to.
Yeah. I like looking forward to stuff, looking forward to holidays, looking forward to Hanukkah, looking forward to Passover.
Yeah, my theory is that life is indeed having things to look forward to. Sort
Mhm.
of the Viktor Frankl thing, man's search for meaning, that you have to have purpose and meaning in life. You have to something that you're working on, right?
Yes.
So I like your idea. Lauren, we all have experienced, most Jews, I would argue, have experienced anti-Semitism since October 7th. I would say that prior to October 7th, I used to ask people, have you faced anti-Semitism straight in the eye? And many people living in Canada would say no. But that's changed dramatically. What happened October 7th and afterwards with your friends? Give us some of your experiences, the ones who did not deal very well with us.
Well, I mean, as we've seen, not just over the past year and a half with anti-Semitism, but as we've seen, gradually over the past decade, there have been a lot of social justice movements that have become things that large groups of people have kind of clung to on social media, and sometimes that comes from a genuine place and from a humanistic place, and sometimes it comes from like wanting to fit in or their own anxieties about, I don't know, not saying the right thing or saying nothing. I'm not sure. And unfortunately, I do think a little bit of that got mixed in with the anti-Semitism that was happening post October 7th. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that you know, I do also think that this is one of those like shape-shifting things that unfortunately is there for a lot of people, sort of just like stereotypes ingrained in them or things like that, that they, all Jews control the media, stuff like that. Maybe things that people don't realize they've been surrounded by growing up. But when the October 7th stuff happened, it was very weird because it quickly went from like we had this really, really horrible day. And so that's where it started. And then it kind of really quickly turned into like, let's now forget that this horrible thing happened, and
Yeah.
let's turn this narrative, not really caring to take into consideration how that would make Jewish people feel. And I'm not saying all Jewish people have the same ideas. I know for me, like I've told you, I'm often professionally and socially the only Jewish person in the room.
Mhm.
And I stand by the fact that I don't think it would have taken much for people to ask me, knowing that I'm maybe the only Jewish friend they have, that my whole family is Israeli, like what's it like for us? I don't think it would have been the worst thing if people had asked me, like, what's an okay thing to say and what's a not okay thing to say. And it was hard watching people I was close to and people who I was acquaintances with take these words and these these ideas and these values that Jewish people had, or that people who felt like connected to or close to Israel had, and kind of change them and like sully the terms and make them nefarious and like sinister. And that was really hard. A lot of people have died, and no one wants that. We don't want that.
Yes.
That's not a value that Jewish people have. We don't want to be killing other people, right? But it's been hard, like I try so hard to get inside the minds of like why people have said what they said, and I've tried so hard to pick and choose when I stay quiet and when I say something, and people who I stay engaged with and people who I have to disengage with, like for my own health. And it's taken a lot of turns. Like I said, there was the initial shock of the attacks. There was the initial shock of that day, followed by the very quick turnaround to like hate, which I couldn't totally understand because not a ton had happened yet. You know what I mean? And then it got progressively worse, and it lasted a year, and it was the year that we were planning our wedding. And so all of these just this anxiety got thrown into the mix. All of this like intergenerational trauma came up with my mom and me and her family and my dad, and it was really, really difficult. And I have no issue with the world being, you know, having opinions about innocent people dying. That's not the problem. It was just hard feeling like I couldn't say anything about the way it made Jewish people feel, you know?
You know, I just finished a podcast prior to this one with a fellow by the name of Dan Gordon. He's a Hollywood writer who's in the Tzava in the IDF for 45 years as a reservist. After October 7th, he set about basically writing and producing a documentary on October 7th itself, having to do with hope, having to do with the heroism, having to do with the terrible things that happened on that day. And essentially, he said, I realized very quickly after October 7th that within a very short period of time, that the narrative is going to change from people feeling awful about what happened in Israel, in southern Israel, to castigating Israel for, quote unquote, a genocide that they're perpetuating on the Palestinian people. And he set about doing it, and he did create it, and it's very, very special. You know, Alex, in light of all of this, if somebody were to say to me, oh, you know what, there's a possibility for you to convert, let's say, to the Roma people. And I've worked with the Roma people extensively through my humanitarian work. I would think to myself, damn, you know what, they're persecuted a lot across Europe. They feel isolated. They feel put upon. They were killed in the Holocaust. We don't even know the numbers because the Roma, and they still really don't. I would have to think twice about wanting to become part of a people who was so hated, so put upon. Did that come into your thinking at all? Like, okay, I'm going to be a Jew. Therefore, when anti-Semitism comes the Jewish way, and it always does, I'm going to be smack in the middle of it this time.
I don't want to sound cheesy when I say this, but you know, when you get married, they say like it's kind of about, till, you know, the good times and the bad times, till death do us part, sickness and health. I don't think you can, in life in general, pick and choose like, oh, I want to have this amazing woman as my life partner and not be connected to her culture, tradition, family, all these beautiful things. It's cheesy, but I would much rather have our happiness and the potential chances for anti-Semitism, danger, you name it, being terrified of terrorists, you know, we're going to visit Israel, like we're going to be afraid, you know, all these things. I'd much rather have all of this stuff than not be with Lauren Mayer. I mean, it's a no contest.
Now that is lovely, Lauren. That is lovely.
I think so too. But you know, I mean, by that same token, I'm sure I don't doubt anything that Alex just said at all. But I'm sure
push comes to shove. Okay, I haven't done anything yet. I've lost a couple of friends. That's all I've done so far. Like I'm talking a lot. But keep going, sorry.
No, I just mean like I'm sure the thought did cross his mind, and I think it crossed my mind too. Like, you know, does he really want to put himself
out there as
a Jewish person and be subject, you know, be subject to hate when, you know, for me, I didn't choose to be Jewish. Like that's what I am. And Alex got to choose. And so I'm sure it crossed his mind, like, yes, I'm choosing to be a part of all of these amazing things, and I'm choosing to have this closeness with my wife, but I'm also doing this, knowingly putting myself in a situation where I could be subject to hate, like at some point, to some degree, whatever that may be, or I may find myself offended by something that I wasn't offended by before, or that I wouldn't have thought twice about, or I don't know.
I hear you. And I think that there's a real gray area. I don't think there's like one answer. The people who have converted, whom I've spoken with, or are about to convert, they're in it hook, line, and sinker. And let's face it, Alex, you have not, like you just said, you have not experienced anti-Semitism.
In a very tiny way, I've lost a couple of friends who were very close to me and said, hey, like, this is crazy what's going on. I've had to have those hard conversations and say, listen, you can't come to the wedding. We can't be friends anymore. It's been nice knowing you. I've had to say that. I've had to vet future friends and say, hey, I love hanging out with you. What are your thoughts on Zionism? Like, I've had to have these tough conversations already, and I'm showing up for those conversations from the get-go, which makes me feel. But no, I have not run from gunfire. I have not worked in the reserve. I have not done,
the friends, but you did lose friends, and that is a very big deal. Were they old friends?
Yes, from childhood.
And how are you feeling about that today?
I feel lighter. It felt great to know that these people were not going to be, if they were in sitting in front of us and we were crying and exchanging vows and I was, wearing talit and all this beautiful stuff, I would have been so uncomfortable to know that they were there,
Yeah.
not celebrating with us,
Were you surprised at their thoughts?
Yes.
Out of nowhere.
I was very surprised when you think you know someone. I'm sorry, you think you know someone.
Right.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
But you know what the weirder part was? Like, I had to end a friendship with someone as well. But the weird part with Alex's situation was these were situations where they actually sought him out and kind of, I guess, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, got the ball rolling with these conversations on the basis that I was Jewish. Perhaps thinking I was, dare I say, brainwashing him or yes, having too much of an influence on him. So it wasn't like, hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Why don't we sit down and have a constructive conversation? It was sort of, there were these very, very bizarre situations that felt out of character for a lot of these people who we no longer talk to. We saw sides of them that we didn't ask for and we didn't seek out and we wish we hadn't seen.
I'm happy we know, though. I'm so much happier knowing that everyone who is around us right now supports the Jewish identity, the Jewish mission, is on our team and support, and everyone, all 80 people, whoever was there at the wedding was with us,
Yes.
Yeah.
They were with us.
They all were. There was not a doubt for any wedding guest, but there were doubts when we started planning, and it was a really surreal experience having this conversion, this like amazing thing coincide with this wedding that was half Jewish at one point, and then it was full Jewish, and then it was like we got to make sure that
right
here, like, I don't know, like my mom was scared. We were all a little like, oh, is somebody gonna walk out? Like, I don't know.
Do we put the kippahs out? Do we do this? Like, what do we
Hey, listen, planning a wedding, our mitzvah, my son is now 18, but when he was 13, that was arduous. That was tough. Who do you invite? Who do you got to not invite? You know what I mean? They're going to be offended, whatever.
I've heard it's
but
crazy.
I mean, with this added dimension, I can only imagine that it made things a lot tougher.
Yeah, it's not what I thought would happen when I planned a wedding. I mean, we got engaged on September. Oh, sorry, that's
okay. That's okay. We
got engaged on September 2nd, 2023, and then of course, a month later, the world was different.
Yes.
And our engagement party was October what? Sorry,
20th.
So at our engagement party, we were uncomfortable. We had people who didn't know what side they were on. People were trying to draw their lines in the sand, and that was uncomfortable. So we did everything we could to make sure the wedding was the right people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next step of this whole, what we'll call a conversion process. So you're studying to be a Jew, Alex. And from my experience, and Lauren, tell me if you agree with this, okay? As the non-Jew studies to be a Jew, the Jew studies to become a better Jew.
Correct. Yes. I would argue that honestly, maybe Alex knows more than I do at this point.
Right.
Which is I guess I've heard that's often
it's a common,
but
it happens apparently.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that a little bit. Has Alex's conversion strengthened your Jewishness?
I think so.
How?
I think so. Well, it like when in any relationship, right? Whether it's, I guess, friendship, romantic, husband, wife, partner, when you see someone have an interest in learning in a really big way, that's inspiring to you, right? And one of the biggest values Alex and I have that both of our families have instilled in us is to always be learning in your life, to have lifelong learning. That's what my grandmother always did. My father's mother, may she rest in peace. And she was always trying to learn everything she possibly could. And Alex has always been that way too. And it's always everything he's always wanted to learn, whether it was professionally or and it's always made me feel interested in what he was doing. And this was like that, but really amped up, like he was, it has made me talk about holidays, which maybe if I was with a person who was born and raised Jewish, maybe we wouldn't have conversations about history. Maybe we wouldn't have conversations about customs or holidays or origin stories or anything like that. So yeah, I do think it's made me a lot more aware. He tracks he tracks all the Jewish calendar. He tracks all the holidays. They come up in like our daily conversation, which I don't think I've had that before with a Jewish person. So yeah, it's definitely made me a lot more aware of my own heritage, for sure. And
who's your puppy? What's your puppy's name?
This is Ollie.
Hi, Ollie. Is Ollie Jewish?
Ollie's Jewish. Born Jewish. So when I carried him to term.
Mazel tov on that.
Yeah,
so I want to impart to you and to our listeners and viewers that the word ger, which is spelled G-E-R in English, comes from the Hebrew verb lagur, meaning to reside and to sojourn. And that's a foreigner. And that's generally how we use the term that we use for someone who converts a ger. Rabbi Mark Angel writes that the Hebrew ger literally means a resident and refers to a non-Israelite who lives amongst the Israelite community. When the Torah commands compassion and equal justice for the ger, it is referring to these residents. The biblical verse about a ger is found in Leviticus. The stranger that sojourneth with you shall be unto you as the homeborn among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. For ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And then there's another pasuk, another line in the Megillat Esther, the Purim story. And in every province and in every city, whatsoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had gladness and joy, a feast and a good day. And many from among the peoples of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews was fallen upon them. So, I want to reiterate the value within Judaism, and I'm curious, Alex, if you have felt this or otherwise, that is incumbent upon the Jewish people, those born Jewish, right, to treat the ger, to treat the convert as if they're have always been a Jew, to make no distinction whatsoever. That's an obligation of the Jewish people. Have you experienced that or otherwise, Alex?
it's only been a few months, but I have experienced this, and it warms my heart. I mean, it's the simple things. Like, I don't know how many Hanukkah nights I've spent with Lauren's family, but last week they gave me the hamesh, and I lit the candles for the first time. It was just like it was something where shamash, and I lit
the helping candle. Yes.
The helping candle, and I was like, I get to do it. I was like, I felt, and so I know it's a little thing, but something like that for the non-Jewish it was a big thing for me. It was a big thing.
How did you feel when they asked you to do it?
It just like everyone was like all of a sudden like, oh yeah, we should let Alex do this. It was like not even a thought. They all just kind of came to that conclusion together, and my heart, grew so big.
Were you nervous?
No, I was happy. I was so happy. I was like, this is such an honor. I mean, like, you see me as family. You see me as yeah. I'm getting emotional, but you see me as one of you, and we are us, and we are together, and we're all Jewish. I don't know. It was amazing.
Lauren, I wonder if that question resonates with you at all, because there is an obligation within Judaism to treat the ger, the convert, as a regular Jew, as if he or she was born a Jew. You're not even supposed to mention the fact that they're gerim, that they're converts. But we don't always see that in our community, do we?
No, we don't. I think it's funny. Like I mean, like Alex was saying, we've seen a lot of that from my family and my friends, but in the community, no. I don't know what the disconnect is. Maybe it's like because there's that, I don't know. There's just a certain an edge or a certain kind of cultural way of being that maybe not all people who not all converts possess. Like maybe it's just that sort of demeanor. But I think that I also know that like a very big Jewish value is embracing the converts because of the different ways of life they have, or different takes on life, or different ways of interpreting the religion, because that's such a big part of Judaism. And I really try to lean into that, but you're right. Like people don't always see it that way.
Listen, I think there's some very big trust issues between the Jewish world and the non-Jewish world. I was dating someone for 7 years, Joan, who was not Jewish. And when we first started dating, I tested her a lot. I really did. And like she turned to me, she goes, are you testing me to see if I like the Jewish people? I go, yeah, I am. Right? Because I come from a background where my father was a rabbi in Kitchener, small town. And we were the only ones who were Orthodox, and there was anti-Semitism, when I was growing up. So I had a distrust for the non-Jew. And therefore when I was in a position to share my life with someone who wasn't Jewish, I found myself testing her. Does that resonate with you guys?
It does. I'm sure I've tested Alex. I'm sure I test my friends.
Right. Right.
I don't even know if I realize I'm doing it all the time, but I say stuff and I'm like, let's see what you're going to say to this,
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I
test people every day by wearing a Magen David around my neck, and by being like, hey, just so you know, you say something, here I am. Right. So you're right. Like it is very much that. And like, we're still at I'm still at the very beginning, honestly, of like, I embrace Alex as being Jewish, but I don't know. There's maybe still part of me too that hasn't fully sunken in yet. And maybe that's where it comes from.
Yeah. And on that point as well, I also, it's been so recent that the fact that I can't even really answer your question, I haven't had a chance to experience someone say, no, you're not really Jewish though. Like, no, I haven't had that. Maybe down the road, we'll let you know. Yeah. We'll let you know how it goes.
But I think
get back to me on that.
A lot of it will come from the way that he goes forward in life with me on his own. If we were to part ways tomorrow, like I feel like he would still want to carry out his Jewishness. You know, I don't know that solely relies on me, but like, you never know, right? Like, so I look forward, I guess, to see the way that Alex moves through life being Jewish now.
Yeah, I want to really sink in, you know. I don't want this to, yeah, let's give it some time.
You guys have a lovely way between the two of you. Like you're
thank you.
you're painfully honest with each other.
Yes.
And you're not afraid to express views. Like some couples whom I've spoken with, they wouldn't say, well, you know what, I don't really entirely see him as a Jew yet. They would be a little bit reticent about saying that.
I just think Alex understands. I think Alex understands me.
No filter sort of vibe here in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. But Alex, here's something that I'm always curious about. And I brought this up in the conversion class. You start out taking in the conversion class or learning about Judaism even prior to that. It's a year, 2 years, 3 years, however the process is. Is there a development of your relationship to Judaism over that time whereby, let's say in the first 6 months, oh, this is all theoretical. And then you go to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th month, and you start to sort of digest values of Judaism into your own soul. Comes the 11th, the 12th month, the 13th month, and there you're almost coming to the conversion process. Is there a point where you can actually say, yeah, I'm a Jew?
I would definitely say that. I mean, yeah, like almost to your point, conversion is like, you don't just beeline to the mikveh. You have to, there has to be this like self-awareness, this becoming story. And I think it was probably around, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 classes where I was like, oh, I'm not just going here to read. I'm not just going here to listen. Like I'm going here to like feed my soul. Like I'm going here for something bigger than me. Like I'm going here because because something's propelling me to go to shul, or, you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. If you could almost, I remember like almost like a feeling I had, that like, oh, this is gonna happen. Like I'm gonna go the whole hog. I mean, not the hog,
would you right, not the hog, maybe the full cow. Was there something, can you say today on October 29th, I'm sorry, December 29th, 2004, can you say you have a Jewish soul today?
Yes. Something happened in that body of water. Like something happened something holy happened there. Rabbi was singing to me, and the water like wasn't moving, and like it was just, and I wasn't moving, and I'm often like a very kind of twitchy guy, and then I went under, and I was like, I felt something, and then I went under the second time, and then I really felt that I made this choice, and whether or not that was like divine intervention or not, the power of choosing does feel like divine intervention. The power that you have, that you get to choose your own faith. Yeah, that was something I didn't get to do when I was a kid, and I'm doing that as a 30-something guy. Really changed me. Yeah. I came out, and it's either like crying, laughing, smiling, all the things. Immediately I hear Lauren's voice and the other supporting rabbis singing through the listening area, and you know, they're singing Mazel Tov, they're Siman Tov, and I was just so happy. I covered myself up then, and yeah. Yeah.
Good to hear. Lauren, yeah. when Alex came out of the mikvah and he had gone through that transition, that metamorphosis, if you will, what was your response to him?
I cried a little bit. Yeah, I did. It was a I think amalgamation of a lot of different emotions from the whole year. How difficult the year had been, how challenging the year had been. Yeah. Of course, the adrenaline and stress with the wedding.
The wedding was days away. Like we were on this, riding this,
and I that morning, actually, we were we were like, things were tense because Alex was nervous and I was nervous, and I think we were fighting.
Yeah, we were going at it a little bit,
which is very Jewish.
Yeah.
We didn't have a good morning, but as soon as he went in there, like, I think we were both very much at peace. There was so much emotion going into that moment, and there was a shift when he came out of the mikveh. It was a good energy. We had really supportive rabbis helping us,
the best
helping
they
him.
did, and the best crew. I'm so thankful to my rabbis supporting, and Aviva. Yeah, thank you so much, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Bajski.
Yeah. It was very emotional. I do think Alex does, I think, have, I would say, a Jewish soul. I think so. Because there's things in there where it's like weird. Him and I come from such different worlds, but at the same time, there are things that we're weirdly aligned on that I don't know if either of us would find that anywhere else.
You're saying a fascinating thing, Lauren, because there's a school of thought, I'm not sure if it's mystical or otherwise, that basically says that, and I heard this within the conversion class, and I thought this is beautiful, that a person converts because in essence what they're doing is they're actually finding their way home. They're actually finding their way home. Alex, does that resonate with you at all?
It's so on point. I just came last night from my massive family gathering. It almost features about 60 cousins in one little room playing Irish music for our we have a great grandmother. They're all in Nova Scotia. I'm the only person here in Toronto.
Yes.
I'm for the last 15 years that I've been here, it felt like I had a home. I felt like I was hanging on by the skin of my teeth and just like in every way possible trying to eke out some sort of like existence. I made a musical home, but still it wasn't like a family. I feel now with this wedding, I have come home. I have found that the structure is sound. It feels like we're not going anywhere now. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
How was Christmas celebration for you?
Honestly, so weird. This was like such a weird, and I expected it to be weird.
Yeah.
But it was like it's a little thing, and I guess many Jewish people in Toronto might be used to this. But if someone says "Merry Christmas" to you, what do you say? And
yeah.
I didn't want to say Merry Christmas. I'd be like, I just wanted to say right away Happy Hanukkah. Because for once in the blue moon, the last 20 years, it's like we're lined up. I wanted to say like immediately Happy Hanukkah or Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, whatever. Because I didn't feel anything for that. I didn't feel. I was just upset that stores were closed. Like maybe I felt actually kind of Jewish that day.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
I just wanted things to be open. I just wanted to be able to go to a walking clinic. Honestly, that's what I wanted to be able to do the most. I had to go to the emergency room for like a minor thing. I was like, can I just go? Oh, it's closed. And then I go home. Sorry to interrupt. I go home, and some of my cousins are saying, "Oh, well, they're saying it's behind my back. I guess I didn't hear it. Why did he convert? You didn't have to do that. Like, why did he convert?"
Yeah.
So there's definitely, I don't know who exactly is thinking it, but some people are thinking that this was unnecessary, that I didn't need to do this. And I haven't had a chance to explain myself to them, but I feel like I shouldn't have to, guys. Like, I don't know, why do you go to church? I don't know, like just open your heart and open your mind. So that's kind of annoying. There is a small-mindedness in my province. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Although it is a very beautiful province.
It's beautiful.
Tell me if this is the equivalent. Let's say you met Lauren, and let's say she had children at the time, and you decided, I'm going to ignore the children. Would that be similar to you ignoring her Jewishness?
Oh, sorry.
If I was,
I'm trying to understand your feelings. and you're thinking about your Jewishness. In other words, you said at the top of this interview, really to engage with Lauren fully,
Yes.
you had to engage her femininity, her music, all of the aspects of her beautiful self, her soul,
Yes, and her spiritual background.
and her spiritual, including her Judaism. What I'm trying to understand here for our listeners, for our viewers, is let's say you wouldn't have. Let's say you would decide, okay, you're a Jew and I'm an Anglican, and we'll just grow that way. Would that be similar, sort of saying like, well, you got kids and I'm just not going to spend any time with them? Would it be that type of
I can't imagine. I can't imagine wanting to marry someone or be that close, whatever. Just being close to someone and like cutting yourself off from like a critical part of their soul, and it seems cold to me. And if that works for some people, I'm happy for you. But I could not do that. I just could not. Any person I've ever, shared time with, you have to give yourself up. That's the point of love. Like, you don't hold back. You give, and then you receive, and then you give, and then you receive.
Lauren, you have a good man there, don't you?
I guess so. Hey,
You got a great
I have a
man.
great wife.
Lovely, lovely people you are. Let me ask you this: in terms of Judaism itself, education is a huge value within Judaism. We've been teaching our kids since time immemorial about what it means to be a Jewish and passing on values. It's called a Masorah. What are the values that the two of you are really picking up on and embracing? What are the things about Judaism that you're diving right into?
for ourselves or for potential children or family?
For your household now, and let's say later on for your kids.
For the household now, well, you can.
I think honesty, loyalty, communication,
education.
Is there,
and
love and family.
Yeah, love and family, carving out the
Strong sense of identity.
strong identity, carving out time for each other, for family, not letting, like, really intentionally not letting days or weeks or time go by where you're not involved in each other's lives. And I think Alex and I are sort of at the beginning of like how we navigate this together, but the conversations that we have about Jewish holidays that I didn't know what they were, we're talking about them and we're figuring out which ones resonate with us the most or which ones we feel the most passionate about. I'm sharing a lot more with him about my favorite holidays and my favorite customs that my family instilled in me growing up. Learning language is a big one, learning to speak Hebrew.
Just spreading peace and not, hate. Peace.
What about our food, Alex? You like herring?
You gotta eat the food and you gotta love the food. I mean, are we good on gefilte fish? Or what are we?
I'm a fan. I don't know.
It's in.
I'm a fan too.
I'm a
Gefilte
fan.
fish.
You gotta put the horseradish on there, but I'm a fan.
Crane. It's called crane.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: you're both into music, musicians, singers, songwriters, lyricists. Have you discovered anything about Jewish music that you both enjoy?
Yeah. You can
Sure. I mean, I'm studying Hebrew right now, so the music is really important to me to actually like get some of the lingo. Just like kind of, I think we all learn better when language is attached to a melody. I think there's like our brain just loves that, and so rhythm. So I engage with that every day, but also just like finding like. This was the first year I got to like make my own Hanukkah playlist. Like, it's just like you get to like you do your thing, and I was sharing songs that Lauren's family hadn't heard before, and so yeah, there's a new love for, I mean, speaking of music, I mean, the hora was like we agonized over who was going to sing the hora for our wedding. Like music is very Jewish. I think it's very important that a Jewish family has like a musical household.
Yeah.
We will have a piano. We will have singing,
Yeah. Yes, the aspect of that is very important. And honestly, like, music is language and language is music, and we're both very
Correct.
like, yeah, we're both very,
we're in tune with that.
We're in tune with that, and we're very dead set on having that being a big part of the household.
And learning Hebrew songs is definitely on the docket. It's going to be part of both of our like occupation as well. So we need to we will
Very
be
good.
versed.
Yeah.
Now, over the last number of months, I've been playing around a little bit with artificial intelligence. And one of the things that I've done through it is to ask AI to produce a poem about my guests.
Okay.
So I have an AI poem here. It's an ode to Lauren and Alex. You want to hear it?
Thank you. Chats.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Lauren's voice was a melody pure and bright, a born Jewess with music in her soul's light. Her melody soared, her chords sang the truth, her heart a rhythm that danced with her youth. With every note she shared her grace, the sound of her people, a warm embrace. Alex, a guitarist with a passion untold, had wandered the world, his music bold. He strummed with fire, his fingers alight, but in Lauren's song he found his light. He loved her more than words could say, but knew to share her world he'd find his way. In her voice he heard a calling deep, a harmony that made his heart leap, and so he chose with love in his eyes to walk the path where her spirit lies. He felt the pull, the sacred draw, to embrace her faith, to love her more. He studied the prayers, the songs, the rites. Each word he learned a beacon of light. With every lesson his soul would grow, for he wanted to share the love she'd always known. So he converted, not just to belong, but to be with Lauren in faith and in song. Nice, eh? They stood beneath the chuppah, side by side, a guitarist and a singer with love as their guide. Their vows were music, their promises true, a symphony of hearts that has always been new. Together they created a life full of sound, a love so deep in melody it's found. For Lauren the singer and Alex the string found their voices together, making hearts sing. In love and faith they would always entwine, a guitarist, a Jew, and a singer divine. Their lives a song, their hearts in tune. Together they'd harmonize, morning to the noon.
That's that's not bad.
You know what, you can
Not
take
bad,
it go one step further, and you can ask chat to turn it into a song, and it will do that as well, which is
really
crazy.
We should do that.
It'll add chords, it'll put a drum machine on it.
You'll have to send that to us.
But please send us
I
the
will
text.
send it. Alex, did you like it because you were blushing while I was reading it?
It's really lovely. Honestly, it's lovely. I use Mr. Chat for almost everything. It's I don't know how much of me is actually out there anymore.
Well, the sentiment is there. The ideas are there.
But they is really good at
Good stuff.
taking an algorithm. Like, think about what just happened there. Sorry, it's crazy. I think you're inspired by AI. I'm also inspired.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lauren and Alex, in conclusion, I wonder if you can, each of you, say something to the other about where you're at in your journey, your embrace of each other, your embrace of your Judaism. Alex, we'll start with you.
I feel like we're in our infancy. Like, not to sound like bad, but it's almost like our relationship has started over again. But really, it's just chapter 2. And chapter 2 is so much more interesting than chapter 1. Chapter 1 is like, here are the main characters. Chapter 2 is like, oh, this is the story. We're finally like living our truth, living our story. And, we have a little family. Like this guy right here, like we've already started doing the thing. And I can't wait to look after life with you and to maybe if we are blessed, we can create life. And just I feel like the possibilities for us are actually endless. I love you.
It's very nice. How cute.
Lauren, your turn, Lauren. Let's see if you can beat that.
Yeah, I often can't. Alex is better at this stuff than I am.
He's great, man. I love this man.
Yeah. I also think that our relationship, this part of our relationship is in its infancy. Things as they start out can be very pleasant at times and also very unpleasant at times. But I am really looking forward to us finding our groove over these first few months, years of this new part of our life together. And I'm excited to continue to be amazed by everything that you always want to learn and embrace about where I came from. And I'm excited to put that into whatever family we're able to have in life and whatever household we're able to have in life, because life is short, but it's also very long. And so there's still a lot of time for a lot to happen.
Yeah.
So much has already happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Me too.
Lauren is so Jewish, eh? Wow, you
So
are
Jewish.
You know, have you picked up on that, Alex? It's like, yeah, things are beautiful, but
Yeah, I know.
sometimes they're not so good.
And I love
And that's a Jewish
That's
way.
what
Keeping it real, man.
the way I was raised was, oh, everything's great. Like, don't tell anyone you have any problems. Like, you know, don't pick any fights. Like,
Not us.
I love, and then I became like a. Now when I go to order something, I actually get the thing I want, which Lauren taught me how to do that. You know, I
don't understand. They didn't bring you the thing you want.
But you paying for this? You're not getting it. Like, what are you doing? You know,
You're even sounding Jewish, right? You're paying for it. Alex, there's a course on complaining. You should probably take it.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
Now, I want to wrap things up by, Alex, I have this drive to say thank you. You know why?
Why?
Because I think as a Jew, as a born Jew, Lauren, tell me if you agree with this or not. It's bloody hard sometimes to be Jewish. Like right now, I have tears in my eyes because I've experienced so much anti-Semitism. I've seen so much of it. I've done so many interviews with Israelis, families of hostages. I've seen the pain that has been put upon us. And I absolutely think we're an incredibly beautiful people. And when someone comes along like yourself and gets it and understands that we are a good, loving, caring people, and like Lauren said at the top of the interview, it is not a goal, it is not a value to go out and kill people. Quite the opposite. Golda Meir, maybe after the 73 war, she said things will stop, not when we're killing the Arab children, but when they decide that they want to stop killing our people, when they want to stop forcing us to come and be aggressive against them. Like, this is not a Jewish value to hurt and kill people. And every single Jew I know, most Jews, perhaps not everyone, but most Jews are suffering not only because of our people who have been killed since October 7th, but because of the Palestinians who have been killed, the kids especially. Mm-hmm. So I really feel like saying thank you to you, Alex, for recognizing who we are as a people, and not only recognizing it, but embracing us. So thank you for that, really.
Thank you for being Jewish and building an incredible
community, culture,
tradition. And honestly, like, I don't know what planet Earth is without the Jewish people. And I hope it's not my job to go out there and tell everyone what's up. I know my rabbis they've let me know that I should go gently into the world and you know, but I would, if I can let one person know that, yeah, Jewish people are doing great things and we can pay attention to this, then that's great.
Welcome. Thank you.
You know?
Yeah.
You guys are really nice together, at least in this interview.
Yeah. After this, it's going to be.
Why did you say that, Alex? Did you have to tell Avrum that, you know? Yeah. Well, you guys are lovely. There's like a beautiful symbiosis between the two of you. And I'm sure when you're singing together, it must come out even more.
Come check out a gig sometime. You got to hear Lauren sing. She's unbelievable.
Got to hear Alex play.
Can you sing us something now, Lauren?
Oh my God.
You know any Jewish songs? Do you know any Jewish songs?
I know.
Sing us something now. You don't have to sing the whole thing.
I can do. I'll keep it simple, and I'll do maybe a little bit of Hatikva.
Yeah, do that. Great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. I just want to make sure I get this right. Kol balev apnima nefesh Yehudi homiya ulefateya mitra ein letzion Sophia. Od tikvatenu Atikva bat shnot alpayim liotam choshi be'aratzenu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim.
Boom, boom, boom. Liotam chopshi.
Choshi be'aratzenu
Let's see on Yerushalayim. Alex, you're very proud of Lauren, aren't you? You're very proud of her, aren't you?
How could you not fall in love with that voice?
Yeah.
You have to say.
This man is great. He's great.
Right?
All right, folks.
Whipping him out.
He's great. He's great. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for watching and for listening. If you have any questions about the show, excuse me, please feel free to be in touch with me. If you have questions for Lauren and Alex, I will forward those questions to them. And also, if you're interested at all in sponsoring the show or doing any form of advertising, please be in touch because I would be more than happy to speak to you about that. We have some great shows coming up, and I hope you stay with us. One of our shows that we're really excited about is called Parsha and Prose, and I do that together with my dear friend Rabbi Shlomo Gomorrah. And basically what we do on a weekly basis is we talk about the portion of the week, the Torah portion of the week, and we learn it through the lens of classic literature. So last week we did Parshat Miketz, and we learned it through the Count of Monte Cristo. So it gives people who have a universal way of thinking the opportunity to understand concepts within the Torah through really, really great literature. So please join us for that. Until we meet again, as they say, Am Yisrael Chai, proud to be a Jew. I am just so delighted to have had Lauren and Alex as my guests. And once again, I thank you very much for being with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It was really, really lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much. Until we meet again.